Good morning, it's 7:38, April 12th, and I am a bit of a sandstorm aftermath. It's very, very cloudy, gloomy here today in Hafnerbauten. Anyway, today I wanted to talk about imagination, and something that, I don't really hear anybody talking about. So, a lot of times in grad school, people would tell me that I come up with lots of ideas every day, that I have more ideas every day than some of my fellow writers ever have. And John Cleese has this great speech where he talks about that imagination really stems from childhood play. And I definitely played as a child or imagined as a child. And I really agree with John Cleese that really carries over, that if you didn't let your imagination brim as a child, it's really hard to get it going as an adult. And even last night, I told my wife Dia that I feel like the weight of the world is sagging on me, that the responsibilities and the issues of being an adult have kind of clouded my consciousness. And this is definitely something that definitely gets in the way of imagination. And what I mean by imagination is the ability to see something as it is not defined, as it could be. And not only seeing that, but exploring that idea to the point where that thing truly could be something else. I have a good example about that. When I was in grad school, I was sitting on a porch in the evening in Colorado with my buddy James, and it was a pretty windy day, or evening, and I was really experimenting, thinking about the idea of trees being a quote-unquote transcended people, or dead people, sort of like in the idea of Speaker for the Dead. But these, and the trees were people, and they could communicate through their leaves and their branches movements, and they could make pictures. And I talked about it so much that James started to see what I saw, and that is real imagination. That's when kind of transcend or step out of the box of reality into that imaginary state. And that's very strong, but at the same time, it's very ephemeral. Like, how do you write that? How do you capture that in a medium, besides like video, I guess, that other people can also explore? And that takes a lot of time, diligence, practice, and hitting the delete button an awful lot. And that's why imagination just isn't really enough. Like, it's great to be imaginative, but without the dedication and without the resolve or the constitution to show that imagination to others, it's just a cool parlor trick. And this is also something about ideas, stories, and desires that a lot of us have, that we'll say something very strong at a party or with a buddy, but without the resolve and the constitution to follow through with that, it's just wind. To quote Game of Thrones, words are wind. So with imagination, to really foster that, you can't get too invested in the actual writing process or creating process if you want your imagination to grow. To get it to grow, you have to foster it, and you have to play a lot, and play out loud, and play in public, and let your ideas just spiral in and out of control. And this is the only way that you build your imagination. And this is very hard, especially as an adult. As an adult, we're told in very silent ways of how to act, how to be, how to dress. And imagination is very deliberately slipped by the wayside because we want things done in a certain way. As a worker, professor, professional, you should look and act in a certain way. You should not be talking to your phone while you're walking to work. I've already gotten lots of comments about that, but this exercise in like video blogging or whatever you want to call it does help free my mind of pressing thoughts and helps me explore my thoughts. And this is just as good as a writing exercise. Harder to edit, but again, not having barriers, not having borders, not saying that you have to do this or you have to do that does help your thought process just percolate. And that's really important as any kind of professional. For example, a movie such as What a Woman Wants, when the main character does his mock-up of all the women's products, and then the woman says, "Do you know anything about these products? Have you tried these products on?" And it's not until he, quote-unquote, slips into them that he can fully understand them. And that, I think, goes for everything. To be a good teacher, you have to know what it's like to be a good student, and vice versa. And so, a lot of us, we go through our lives, we go through our jobs, and we don't think about the opposite end or the receiver of our works. And some of us do. Some of your jobs make you do that. But to be creative and to keep being creative, you constantly have to be putting down the space bar. You have to be putting down the iron and saying, what if? Or could this be? And let that play out. Let that idea, even if it's a silly, stupid, cliche idea, let it run as far as you can let it run. And then maybe toy with it later, write it down, and just keep on keeping on. And that's the only thing I can really say about imagination, is it's not a one-shot, it's not a one-off, it's a continuous play. So, have a good day, guys. I'm sorry. Have a good day, y'all.